Hi guys, it's Frankie from Frankie Tech. Good to see you guys again, and today I want to do a comparison I've been waiting to do for a while. The Mi 10 Ultra versus the current flagship iPhone 11 Pro Max. And beyond just comparing these two incredible phones, which in my opinion represent the best offerings of their respective platforms, I want to go in depth to one specific area of comparison between these phones, the camera. And now that we know that this Mi 10 Ultra has come out with the 130 DxO Mark score and on paper is the best camera in the world, how does it stack up with the iPhone 11 Pro Max, which I do still believe is the single best point and shoot camera on the market? That's right guys, I still get the most amazing and consistent results of any smartphone on this 11 Pro Max. So how do these phones stack up, and which is truly the camera champ of these two? Let's have a look. But first I'd like to let you know that this video is sponsored by Filmora Go, one of the best alternatives to iMovie on both iOS and Android. With easy-to-use editing features, Filmora Go gives you all the essential tools you need to make videos, like trim, split, transitions, canvas, reverse, and speed controls, allowing you to edit in a very easy timeline all of your clips on your phone. With standout and exceptional effects like stickers, filters, and text, you'll be able to use these to customize your latest creation. In the case of this video, I was hiking in the woods, so I figured let's make it jungle themed, and with picture-in-picture, you're easily able to add front-facing video to really narrate an experience and make it an even more engaging video for your audience. With additional features like text input, allowing you to create titles with many different fonts, and it makes it so easy. Just drag and place to your liking. Just keep hiking, baby. And use the music you want, including royalty-free music, sound effects, and even voiceover work for your videos. So check the links in the description, guys, for Filmora Go. Try it now and start making the videos you love. And thanks once again to Filmora Go for sponsoring this video. So going through the quick rundown of specs before we get to camera, talking about design and display, 221 grams versus 226, 9.5 millimeters versus 8.1 millimeters. So these are both very heavy phones, but the 11 Pro Max is the thinner of the two. And you guys thought the 11 Pro Max was large. Look at this Mi 10 Ultra. It is even larger. Incredible industrial design on both of these phones. The iPhone has long been the gold standard in terms of premium build, but I do think this Mi 10 Ultra has caught up and maybe even surpassed it with this gorgeous ceramic back. It just feels so premium, although I do love the feel still almost a year later of this matte glass on the iPhone 11 Pro Max, and it looks just as good today as the day that I got it. And on the fronts, we have a 6.67 versus 6.5 inch AMOLED display, Full HD Plus on the Mi 10 Ultra versus the iPhone's 1242 by 2688 pixel density in between Full HD and Quad HD with a 458 pixel per inch versus 386 on the Mi 10 Ultra. And both of these displays are absolutely gorgeous, but look at the bezels on the 11 Pro Max. They are definitely starting to show their age. While on the Mi 10 Ultra, you can see the side bezel is so much smaller and the bottom bezel is nearly now the same size as the one on the 11 Pro Max, which at one point was the smallest bottom bezel on any phone. And on the top, the Mi 10 Ultra has a punch hole, while we have that Face ID large notch on the 11 Pro Max. It's definitely a big one, but it also houses Face ID, which I continue to think is one of the most incredible features that distinguishes the iPhone from Android phones. If all things were the same, I would say these phones had very similar displays and the iPhone wins on resolution, but there's no denying that 120Hz refresh rate on the Mi 10 Ultra. It just feels so much more modern a display, and overall I think when it comes to design and display, the Mi 10 Ultra has now surpassed what the iPhone is offering here in this 11 Pro Max. And here's YouTube playback on the Mi 10 Ultra and the iPhone 11 Pro Max. And you can just tell what a more modern experience the Mi 10 Ultra is offering here. Even with the curved edge, it just looks like a more futuristic device. Dual speakers on both of these phones. And in terms of DRM info, every iPhone is pretty much L1 out of the box. And we know, guys, that the Mi 10 Ultra is also L1 for this China ROM version of the phone. And talking about performance, we have the Snapdragon 865 versus the Apple A13 Bionic, both on a 7nm process, 12 gigs of RAM on the Mi 10 Ultra versus 4 gigs on the iPhone 11 Pro Max, UFS 3.1 versus NVMe storage on the iPhone. And guys, whether you accept it or not, the reality is even 1 year later, this A13 Bionic is still offering single core scores that are better than any Android phone on the market. And while the 865 does get closer in multi-core, there's no denying the prowess of Apple's A series chips. They are just the best mobile chips, and there's no surprise why they are transitioning their entire Mac lineup to these A series processors. And in terms of software, we see MIUI 12 versus iOS 14. I've done a full in-depth comparison of these two software skins. Go and check it out in case you haven't, but I will say that MIUI 12 is fast becoming one of my favorite Android UIs, and iOS 14 has brought some welcome changes like widgets and the app library now to iOS. Your mileage may vary depending on which OS you're more accustomed with, but I think these two offer the best of both worlds in terms of Android and iOS. And in terms of battery life, we have a 4,500 mAh capacity versus a 3,969 capacity on this iPhone 11 Pro Max. And 120 watt fast charging versus 18 watt fast charging on the iPhone. And in terms of charging at least, this Mi 10 Ultra trounces this 11 Pro Max. But I will tell you the battery experience on this phone has been incredible this entire year. And even though my battery health is now at 92%, I'm consistently able to get through a full day and then some on this 11 Pro Max. The Ultra wins this battery section, but it will be very interesting to see in future iPhone releases if Apple is able to keep this amazing battery life going like it did on this iPhone 11 Pro Max. And now a quick audio speaker test on these phones. Dual stereo speakers on both. Let me point the mic forward. Let's have a listen. What can I say? A very interesting audio test here. The Mi 10 Ultra definitely wins in terms of volume. And this dual speaker unit on this phone does get plenty loud. I do appreciate that on this phone. But that's where the positives end here for the Mi 10 Ultra's audio speaker experience, because I do still think the iPhone 11 Pro Max has the more pleasing sound, with a richer bass, a better stereo separation, and just a less tinny sound at 100%. Now, I think if the Mi 10 Pro was in this test, it would probably beat the iPhone 11 Pro Max, but as I stated before, the Mi 10 Ultra's speakers is just a bit more reduced from the one on the Mi 10 Pro, and I think it's one of the slight negatives of purchasing this phone over the Mi 10 Pro, so I give it here to the iPhone 11 Pro Max. And so that's it, guys, for the rundown of the other specs, but now we're going to jump in to this camera section. And first off, let's compare the camera specs between these two flagship phones. So the Mi 10 Ultra is using a 48 megapixel f1.9, and it's that OmniVision OV48C sensor that I've been really touting up. Meanwhile, the iPhone 11 Pro Max is using a 12 megapixel f1.8 aperture. Both phones OIS on their main sensors. And when it comes to telephotos, we have a 48 megapixel f4.1 periscope telephoto on the Mi 10 Ultra, 5 times optical zoom with an incredible 120 times hybrid zoom, versus a 12 megapixel f2.0 on the 11 Pro Max, 2 times optical zoom OIS only. But we also have a second 12 megapixel telephoto on the Ultra, and then in terms of ultra wides, we have a 20 megapixel f2.2 versus the 12 megapixel f2.4 on the iPhone 11 Pro Max. And on the fronts, we have a 20 megapixel f2.3 versus a 12 megapixel f2.2. Both phones capable of shooting some incredible video, with the Ultra capable of 8K 24 FPS and 4K 60 on board for both phones. But with one distinction, the iPhone 11 Pro Max is able to shoot 4K 60 on not one, not two, but all 3 rear-facing cameras, including the front selfie camera. And that is video capability that no Android phone has been able to match just yet. Now, as I've been out taking photos with these two phones, I've been just so impressed that each of these phones has been able to bring their own kind of quality and style to the images that they've taken. And I did a number of comparisons on Twitter, sharing images with you guys. A lot of you resoundingly said the Mi 10 Ultra was the better option. But funny enough, once I removed the watermark of the Ultra and just made you guys choose in a blind comparison, a lot of you guys actually preferred the iPhone 11 Pro Max's shots in the night. So which of these phones does better in overall still photography and in video? Well, I have a bunch of samples here to share, so let's have a look at the samples and we'll talk about them when we get back. And here's rear-facing video on the Mi 10 Ultra and the iPhone 11 Pro Max. Coming to 5 p.m. here in Hong Kong. Absolute gorgeous but hot day here. Great stabilization on these phones. But hit me up in the comments. What do you think? And this is front-facing video on the Mi 10 Ultra and the iPhone 11 Pro Max, shooting in full HD 30 FPS, which is the max that the Ultra can do, while the Max can actually do 4K 60 FPS. But listen to the mics, hear how they sound. Hope you guys are doing well, staying safe, and hit me up in the comments. What do you think? So what'd you guys think? Did the Mi 10 Ultra win out in this camera comparison, or is the iPhone still the #1 point-and-shoot camera on any phone on the market? Guys, I think there are many moments where this Mi 10 Ultra surpassed the 11 Pro Max. And when it comes to the zoom shots, there's no comparison. The Mi 10 Ultra just trounces the iPhone 11 Pro Max in these results. But in the daytime, guys, I actually prefer the color and the balance of a lot of these iPhone shots over the Mi 10 Ultras, which tended to be a bit more cool and a bit less realistic to what I remember seeing in the actual scene that I shot. Now, it's interesting because a lot of these Ultras shots were cooler and in some cases also more punchy. The colors just popped, and they do make for a pleasing image. But if you're looking for a more natural balance of colors and just a more true-to-life look in your photos, I think the iPhone 11 Pro Max is still the better option. And at nighttime, the results were even more surprising, with the iPhone's HDR and overall color science just doing the better job. Especially in this sewing machine shot, I do feel the 11 Pro Max just captured more light and had a more pleasing image overall. And when it comes to video, I think now you guys understand why it is that I tout up this 11 Pro Max in terms of video so much. The Mi 10 Ultra does great video, but there's just something about the quality of the video from the 11 Pro Max that I still consider the gold standard compared to any mobile device on the market. Today, it's the only mobile video camera on a phone that I can completely trust will give me the best and most consistent video quality of any phone. And so in terms of stills, while I do think the iPhone is more consistent, the Mi 10 Ultra just gives you so many more options, from the zoom capabilities, the incredible super ultra wide, and great results from the OmniVision OV48C, and I think it wins in terms of still photography. But when it comes to videos, I'm still going with the iPhone 11 Pro Max. To me, it is still the gold standard of video, and while the Mi 10 Ultra gets very close, it still doesn't surpass the 11 Pro Max in video. And so that's it for this video, folks, and my final verdict here on the Mi 10 Ultra versus the iPhone 11 Pro Max. I think it's safe to say that the Mi 10 Ultra is just the better phone at this point in terms of its design, its display, overall performance, battery life, the audio experience, and the cameras. They might not surpass the iPhone at every point, but overall, it is just the better and more modern phone of these two. But what's crazy to think about, guys, is that this iPhone 11 Pro Max has been out for a year, and even a year later, I still think this phone can go toe-to-toe with the best that Android can offer. And so while I do feel that this Mi 10 Ultra does win this overall comparison, it'll be very interesting to see how this phone stacks up to the successor to this 11 Pro Max, the iPhone 12 Pro, whose release is imminent, and then we will likely need to recompare these two series of phones, with the Ultra going against the 12 Pro to finally see which phone has the edge overall. But hit me up in the comments. Which of these two phones do you think did best? And which would you pick for yourself? Hit me up in the comments. I'd love to hear about it. And that's it for this video. If you liked it, give me that thumbs up. And if you love the content of Frankie Tech, subscribe to the channel. Hit the bell icon for future updates. The big announcements this week, guys: Realme X7 Pro and some more exciting releases coming up very soon. Stay tuned to Frankie Tech for all the latest coverage, guys, and appreciate all the support. So that's it. And this is where I leave you by saying, this is Frankie Tech, signing off. Have a good one.